Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am so excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And I am especially excited about this one because I built a saloon. And here's the thing. I wanted it to look exactly, okay, maybe not exactly. I wanted it to resemble all of the shell buildings that we have in New Appaloosa, which is basically the little like town square, downtown area of Chestnut Ridge that came with the new Horse Ranch expansion pack. So that was my goal, and I think I did that because I'm really excited about it. I love saloons. I don't talk about this a lot because why would I? I don't know how it would come up in conversations, but I have always adored the look of like old Western saloons. So one of my favorite games that I've never played like on the channel, I've never really talked about it too much, is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, not the story-based gameplay. I haven't actually played the story, which is super embarrassing to say, but I love playing Red Dead 2 online. It was something that I did with like my husband for a really long time, and it was super fun. And one of my favorite things to do was actually just go to the saloons and look at them. Like, I don't know, I just absolutely love it. And I'm just fascinated by them. I think they're so cool. So when I was looking at the surrounding area of this little downtown space, I don't want to say area too much, you can see me like diving off to the side looking at the buildings. There are these columns, almost like these stone columns, because all of the other ones are brick. I wanted to make it wood because it just seems more rustic and more Western saloon-ish, if that makes any sense. But they have like these stone columns on each corner of the building. So I wanted to replicate that, but of course make them wood. And then I wanted to have a lot of like balcony space, I suppose. And there was this curvature in the roof. Now, the default lot, this is the oak barrel, by the way. The default lot, I believe, was built by SimProved. If I am incorrect, please tell me in the comments. I want to appropriately credit someone, and I didn't even look beforehand as to who built it. I believe it was SimProved though, and they're an amazing builder. And they added this detail to make it match the rest of this downtown area. There was this rounded kind of roof detail. It wasn't really a rounded roof, but it was a roof detail. And I wanted to also have that here. You can see it. You saw it. You saw it briefly on all the other buildings there. I wanted to add that here too to really make it blend in. So like the main features I wanted the corner columns, and I wanted a rounded roof piece to make it blend in a little bit more. And then I knew I could add like the porches and the balcony. And I also wanted to bring that rounded kind of feature from the roof towards the front entryway. So I actually used rounded, it's not the round rooms, like the actual circular rooms that we can make in The Sims 4, but I wanted to kind of add a little bit of detail to the front here. And I thought it came out really nicely. I was really excited about it. It ended up being a pretty big build, I would say, like bigger than I was anticipating. And I think that's primarily just because of the columns, which don't have functional space in them, if that makes any sense. It'll make sense when we get onto the interior, but adding the porches that basically wrap around this entire build. I'm also using this little trick, I'll call it a trick. I learned this from the great Devin Bumpkin, i.e. Aiden, very dear sweet friend of mine. He always does this in his builds. I learned this from him probably like a year or two ago at this point, but he uses shelves and then the little corbels to make window details. And I did that on a saloon build that I did in Strangerville probably about a year ago at this point. And it adds so much detail. I think it looks so good. So I decided to carry that to this build as well, just because I was struggling with some of like the window selections, I suppose, that came with this pack for this specific build. I mean, the windows that came with this pack are beautiful, but I was just on the struggle bus. And now we're on to the interior. So I did do the floor plan, if you will, off camera. There really isn't a floor plan to this. I just use some platforming to separate some spaces downstairs. And then there's always this, I would say it's very, what am I trying to say? It is a characteristic of a lot of different saloons and things like that I've seen in reference pictures and like in games, where there is this big open kind of like balcony area, I suppose, on the second floor, and they have like these big giant chandeliers. So I did that. I used the platforming down here to separate spaces. So off to the right hand side, there's going to be a seating area with a ton of different tables. And then in the center, there's the bar and basically like this big entryway, because of course it's just this big barn door archway that leads you right into the bar area. And then down here is actually going to be the one and only dance floor. Now, it was a bit of a struggle to figure it out and make it seem like it was really suited to this size of a build, if you will. Like I only used the smallest dance floor, which was a little bit uncomfortable to me. I wanted to have more dance floors here because it just felt more appropriate, but I don't know. I ended up with just one. And I suppose at the end of the day, what's most important is that it works. And it does, it works great. But I loved the inside of this build and it was just so simple. Like I said, there's really no floor planning. It was just very simplistic. Things flowed really nicely. And I did maintain this as a bar lot. So there were some requirements that I had to meet. One of the requirements I really dislike for bars is the requirement of having a television, just because if you have music playing or if you have like an instrument for Sims to play here, there's always the TV on as well. It's like the first thing that the Sims put on when they go to a bar, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. It really does. It drives me nuts. I don't enjoy it. So what I've done before when I've made bars is I've made like a 1-tile basement and I put the TV down there. So technically the requirement is met, but your Sims can't watch that dang TV because I despise it. But I do put a TV here. You can get rid of it if you would like to, if you don't like having TVs in your bars. And you can also see that for the bar back, because we did get a bar back with this pack. It was my first time seeing it. I ended up kind of making built-in cabinets and stuff, as well as like the wine crates, the stacked ones, to try to make it look like all of their supplies are back there, aside from the barrels of nectar that are, you know, upstairs, that I put upstairs on that second story. And I don't even know if I didn't even mention this. This is called the Lone Star Saloon. I changed the name, and that is because I used to live in Texas. I've mentioned this before. I lived there for a couple years. It was a short, brief period of my life, but I really enjoyed Texas when I was there. There were a lot of things that I really enjoyed about Texas. Was I like about an hour outside of Austin, which I love Austin, Texas. It's one of my favorite places. I think I was about an hour outside of Austin. And where I wasn't super duper wonderful. Like I wouldn't necessarily recommend living where I was. I didn't really have a choice. My partner was military, so we had to be there. But yeah, Texas itself was actually super fun. I really enjoyed it. I got to see parts of Dallas. I got to see parts of San Antonio. I didn't see as much as I wanted to see while I was down there, but this pack has made me really miss Texas, and calling it the Lone Star Saloon, especially with that metal decal that I put at the front with, you know, the alleged name there, I thought it was perfect. But now we're on to the upstairs, because I've talked through basically everything else, and there are 2 bathrooms. Now, are these the best bathrooms I planned out? Absolutely not. But it worked. It worked. I didn't have to like put a random bathroom on the exterior. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have to do that, which was great. And since I realized that I didn't have a staircase or like a ladder or anything on the interior to get to that second story, I added 2 staircases on each side of the build just to get up to all of this like balcony porch area on the second story, which I thought worked out okay. You know, I don't see this place getting so packed that every single table is going to be filled with Sims. It just does not happen. But there's plenty of seating up on the second story, right near the front of the build, which I thought was really nice. There's like benches all around the exterior of the porches, like these benches right here. There's just tons of places for your Sims to sit and just kind of enjoy the atmosphere. I don't know, that was kind of my thought. And there's a nice view out to the back. There's a nice view out to the front. I look at the environment, if you will. Now, I didn't really know how to decorate the exterior, though. I was really struggling because I didn't want it to be super overcrowded, and I didn't quite know how to make it blend in with the rest of the world. I didn't even show you guys when I put down this wood planked flooring. I think it's the base game one. I thought it kind of matched the build, but it was just difficult for me to make the wooden old Western saloon exactly fit in with this downtown area, because again, even though the build has components or aspects of the shell like faux buildings in this downtown area, it's a different material, and I was kind of just going for a different look. So I don't know. I also feel like every single person that makes a saloon or something like that with an entryway is going to put that dang skeletal cow plant thing right at the front. Like, I just know it's gonna happen. I know every single person that's gonna make something like this is gonna put that at the entrance because it's quite literally perfect. It's literally perfect. But yeah, I added a few decorations. I've got like some hay bales and some nectar barrels. That's about as advanced as I could get here. I think I stripped back the benches, and then I went into the debug menu more, and I was starting to find the little like hitches where you can hitch up your horse. Unfortunately, those aren't functional. I thought about that as I was building this. I'm like, that would be great if you could actually take your horse to the saloon and attach them to that hitch so they don't like wander off or do anything. I don't know. I really would have liked that. I don't know how happy the horses would be about it, but it would work, if you will. I also found those string lights in the debug menu. I was looking for those for a while and I ended up finding them, and I just added them to these little like doorways up on the second story here. And then I just figure out how many more tables I'm going to place towards the back. Like there's literally tons of tables. There's also a dumpster on the slot. I mean, if you're looking for a little woohoo spot, you know, it's there. And I'm just realizing I didn't put any trash cans on the interior, which is a huge error. That's a huge mistake, isn't it? Did I mess up? Did I do it? I think I messed up. But I'm just adding the rest of the details to the windows because I realized I didn't do that towards the back or the side windows. And then that is like pretty much it for the build. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Please tell me if it resembles the buildings that surround it, because that was my goal. And I'm like really nervous that it looks too different. I don't know. I hope it fits in. But I will catch you next time I post a video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.